Well, there are so many incredible storylines to follow going into this World Cup, which, if you missed it, kicks off in just 2 days. So we're going to go through some of our biggest storylines to watch. Jaydee, let's kick it off with yours, and that is the one that you are looking forward to most following during this World Cup.
The Icon's last dance. And I say that because you smiling, you like that?
I'm smiling because that's what I said. Okay, tell me what you're watching for.
We're in sync.
Yes.
I feel like we're saying goodbye to a generation of stars, people that have dazzled us for so long. And I don't want to just turn around and give them their flowers because these are still some of the best athletes in world football and they're going to be super competitive. But saying goodbye to Neymar, to Messi, to Ronaldo, probably on the international stage and one of the biggest places in the world in regards to the centre of the entertainment capital, is going to feel sensational. And I believe that they'll get the flowers that they rightfully deserve. Of course, we know that Cristiano's probably got his mind locked into something completely different because he is a completely different type of individual. But looking genuinely at what all three of those individuals are kind of given to the game of football, it's going to be a sad but also a celebration of what they've given us so far.
So perfectly said. And it'll also be interesting to see how this World Cup opens the door for who that next generation of players might be. We have, some ideas of who those guys are, but it's moments like these that really help them solidify that stance.
So that means that you had the same thought process.
I had the exact same one.
The ones to watch. That's probably why our graphics team didn't even tell us any different. Look, this is probably your images now in regards to mine.
Well, I will say what's interesting, though, you think about Ronaldo in the last World Cup. He controversially got benched in that first knockout stage game for Portugal. This is a guy who is central to this team, but also this is a stacked Portugal team. So how can Ronaldo help deliver what they hope would be that first World Cup title? Messi, on the other hand, he was just playing at a different level last World Cup. We could sense that motivation that he wanted to get that one trophy that eluded him. Now, going back to back, would that officially put him above Maradona? I mean, it's those other storylines for guys who have just been the best competitors over the last couple of decades. I just can't wait to see how they wrap up their international careers at this level.
You're talking to me and I love it. You're one of the script writers, right? And I will say it, in between the lines is the game. But outside of the lines is where we come into it with the storytelling. And what you need to understand, in every single story, there's a hero and there's a villain. I'm telling you now, even though Cristiano Ronaldo is heralded and he's going to be seen as one of the greatest players of all time, he's going to go into this almost like a little bit of a villain because of the relationship that Messi has with North America now, being based here, and also the competitive nature that is between the two that they don't talk about, but we can see it subconsciously. The rivalry they've had for years, going back and forth with the Ballon d'Ors, playing for rival teams, and of course, him already achieving this feat of creating and that history with the World Cup, and Cristiano is still looking for that moment in terms of the biggest stage, is only going to raise his level. He doesn't mind stepping into that villain role, almost like Bane, and watch him come out and enjoy every single one of those moments. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the best statistical World Cup we've seen from Cristiano Ronaldo so far.
All right, book it, everybody. I love that, Jaydee. Okay, well, those are a couple of players to watch, but we also have other players that we're keeping an eye on. So who's your guy to watch in this World Cup?
You already know, it's the next generation. Once upon a time, we were looking at these stars and we were calling them the wonder kids or the people that were going to come through and dazzle us. Now, this is one that I know is not going to be at the center of a lot of people's attention, but Antonio Nusa is one that I am highlighting because the stats don't jump off in terms of the stat sheets. There's not one of those that you kind of look at and you think to yourself, oh, he's only scored that many goals, he only has a handful of assists, but it's the eye test. The eye test tells me the relationship he has with Erling Haaland and what Norway are going to do as my surprise package in this World Cup. I am really looking forward to watching what he does on the biggest stage. He's sharp, he's electric, he's an old school winger is what I say. He wants to go at you, he wants to beat you, and he wants to put the ball in the box. It's a star in the making here in Norway. Erling Haaland will naturally take all of the attention.
Of course.
Martin Odegaard will shoulder the rest of the responsibility. But this young man has the opportunity to become the star.
But you need guys to set Erling Haaland up. And if Erling Haaland gets wrapped up, well, then who does the ball fall to? Maybe this is the one to watch.
I like it.
My guy to watch in this World Cup
remix, let's go,
is Florian Wirtz, because he comes into this World Cup for Germany with something to prove, coming off of what was all around a disappointing season with Liverpool, at least for what the expectation was because of how much money. It was, at the time, a record move to bring him over from Leverkusen to Liverpool. And he, as well as the rest of Liverpool, let's be honest, just really didn't live up to the hype of winning the Premier League the season prior. So, I mean, here are the numbers with Germany: 41 caps, 11 goals, 11 assists. He's just 23 years old, and he's already shown in recent matches that with this German national team, he plays such a big role and he's been in good form. How can he use this World Cup as a way to get back that confidence, that momentum that he was just really missing this last season at Liverpool? So I think for him, there's just, it's not like pressure necessarily, it's more of an opportunity, and I think he takes it.
Ali, I love this selection. I really do, because there is still a player in there. There's still a player that someone wanted to pay £100 million plus for. There's still a player that wants to lead his nation. And I think for him, this is an opportunity to remind the world, as you're saying, almost like a redemption story. No matter what they say, he would have heard the noise that was around him in the outside world. He would have definitely heard the media causing doubts over his own confidence, his own ability. Now he can go back to his nation and be the main man once again, knowing that he's the focal point, he's the linchpin, he's the person that links everything from attack, especially in the final third. I really do see a good tournament for him. And the only thing I'm concerned with is I don't know who's scoring all the goals for Germany. He might create amazing amount of opportunities, but you're relying on Voltemade, you're relying on Havertz. Somebody has to go in there and get 6+ goals within a World Cup if Germany are going to be where they see themselves.
Well, the beauty is he can score too. And while Germany aren't one of the odds makers' favorites, at least when you look at the top 6, I think they find themselves somewhere in the top 10. That kind of also helps a little bit too with that pressure. They come in not being the favorites. They don't have to maybe carry that weight on their shoulders. Well, speaking of pressure, it is always going to bring a little bit of pressure when you're one of the host nations. So between Mexico, Canada, and the United States, which of these nations will make the deepest run in this World Cup? Well, it starts with the group stage. For Mexico, they have South Africa, South Korea, and Czechia, while Canada have Bosnia-Herzegovina, Qatar, and Switzerland, while the United States have Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. So, Jaydee, the story to watch of these host nations, which one are you riding with in this World Cup?
Okay, so who's going to have the best fans? The Mexican fans are going to be the best fans in the World Cup, like, period.
Yes.
They're going to be sensational. I think Canada, if you looked at just the statistics in terms of the fixtures that's in front of them, they have the best chance of advancing past the group. But the emotional connotation, the directness, and also the pressure is all on the US men's national team. And they need to deliver. And I genuinely feel like the first game is going to dictate a lot of how far they can go in this tournament. That Paraguay game now becomes one that they must win from the start. We already see the outside noise of Pochettino. We already know in terms of where he is and his looseness in terms of his own future. But what they need to understand is how you start is how you finish. They need to set the standard from the beginning. You take the confidence from the Paraguay positive result into Australia, and all of a sudden that Turkey game becomes one that you can just go and have fun and express yourself in. That's where you create upsets. That's where you create momentum. Momentum is so important in these World Cups.
So important.
Because you only need 7 or 8 wins. That's it, Ali. That's all you need.
That's it. And then you lift a trophy.
And then you can lift a trophy. So I'm going to go the US men's national team, and I'm going to go as far as to say they're going to be out in the semi-finals. They'll make it to the Final 4. Let's go, USA. Let's go. I like this energy.
All right. This sounds like a man who's loving his new country. Okay. I do want to ask you this before I give my pick. When you look at the first games for each nation, Mexico, Canada, US, who has the hardest first game?
Oh, they're all different. Like, Bosnia have the experience and also the freshness of wanting to experience this type of World Cup before. Paraguay they're cultured. If you watch them, especially during the qualification periods, they know how to manage games really well. South Africa and Mexico actually have history. This is actually a redemption tour. This is actually a remix of what we've seen before. And I genuinely think that will probably be a draw. I don't know who's going to have the louder fans in that stadium that night, but I am so looking forward to following Mexico throughout this journey, because I think their fans are sensational. The passion that they feel, and their players reflect it. The only thing I question with them is necessarily maybe the quality individually that's in that squad. But I actually see all 3 teams at least coming out with a point. And I think every single one of the hosts will at least start positive. We can get some points on the board. That's all you need.
Do you see each of the 3 getting out of the group?
No, I'm not going to tell you which one.
Okay, we'll save that for another show. Well, I'm with you. I wasn't expecting you to pick the US to go the furthest.
Okay,
but that's actually what I picked as well.
Come on, B. It's money season, that's what.
This guy, we showed up wearing the same color today. We had the same storyline.
We're in sync. We're in sync.
I'm like a little freaked out, actually. Okay, so I picked the United States for a lot of what you said, the individual quality. I do think, there's been so much talk about this golden generation. I think it comes good in this World Cup. I really do. I don't know. I'm not feeling as optimistic that the United States make it all the way to the semifinals. I am a glass half full kind of girl, but I do think they advance to at least the round of 16.
Okay.
Which, because of the added knockout round game, is a success. I know that, it's the talk, how much further can they go than they have in years past? To me, the round of 16 in this World Cup would be a success for the United States.
All I'm going to say, could you imagine the Knicks win the NBA Finals and the US men's national team make it to the semifinals in the same year? Leave it out. Leave it out. This place will turn into Gotham City.